Over the last few years, I've received countless messages from students, bankers, and professionals, usually all asking some variation of the same question. Jeremy, should I pursue a degree in fintech to break into the fintech industry? And it's a valid question. Fintech is one of the fastest growing sectors in Africa and beyond, spanning digital lending, payments, crypto, regtech, embedded finance, insurtech, and many more. Now, universities around the world have responded with specialized fintech first degrees, fintech master's degrees, and in some cases, even fintech PhDs. And so have some of the educational online platforms, bootcamps, and accelerators. But the real question is, are fintech degrees necessary or even helpful for building a career in fintech? Now, having walked the path from traditional banking into the fintech space, here are my thoughts on this question. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jeremy, and if you're new here and haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so because on this channel I speak about fintech, digital transformation, and agile strategy. A fintech degree has become quite popular in recent years. Previously, finance topics were typically taught under a separate umbrella, and technology topics were also taught separately. But now, with the coming together of financial technology in this domain we call fintech, we've seen a hybrid course specifically aimed to provide knowledge on the topic of fintech. So this course typically blends finance, technology, and innovation. It may include core finance topics like banking, risk, investment, and accounting. It includes tech skills like blockchain, programming, AI, APIs, and cybersecurity. There are also innovation models, so design thinking, entrepreneurship, product management, and regulatory insights on compliance, licensing, and sandbox frameworks. You'll find these degrees at the master's level in many institutions. For example, an MSc in Fintech or an MBA in digital finance. There are also short courses and professional certificates from institutions like MIT, Oxford, Harvard, CFTE, or online providers like Coursera and edX. So when people reach out to me asking me to recommend the best fintech degrees or master's programs, it's honestly quite difficult to do. This is because globally, Ivy League schools now have fintech degrees and courses, and additionally, local universities in your own country now have equivalent degrees and courses. There are also all the online degrees and courses that you can explore. So depending on your budget, your location, your current level of education, or your specific duration requirements, there will be a fintech degree or course for you. So then the question becomes, is it useful? The answer to that is yes, it is. But is it necessary? Let's explore that a little bit more. Now, in order to answer that question, we need to first talk about what fintech employers actually care about. Now, in one of my previous videos, we spoke about the future of jobs in the fintech space based on the Future of Jobs report conducted by the World Economic Forum in the early part of 2025. In that report, one of the key observations is that employers surveyed shared that as companies adapt to the realities and problems of the modern world, traditional degrees are becoming less of a central focus. Now, even though work experience is still valued, employers now want tangible proof of your capabilities, not just what your resume or CV is claiming. Most fintech employers, even in Africa, don't really care as much about the title of your degree. What they really care about is, one, can you solve problems? Fintech is very fast-paced and quite ambiguous. Employers want people who can figure things out and not just quote the theory. Secondly, do you understand the intersection of finance and tech? Whether you're in partnerships or risk or product operations, growth, marketing, finance, or technology, you need to be able to speak the language of both banking and technology. You need to be able to articulate the gaps that this marriage between the two domains is intending to solve and propose or contribute to the solutions. 3, can you deliver? Most fintechs run a very lean operating model with fewer people expected to deliver huge results. There's no room for passengers. Multi-dimensional people who can double hat or sometimes even triple hat are the type of talent being sought for. Can you own projects, drive growth, build systems, represent the company, or just move the company forward in some shape or form? That is what is key. Can you adapt? Company priorities change, product priorities change, the regulatory environment shifts, and even your job description is most likely going to change. You'll only thrive if you're agile, you're self-motivated, not just degree certified. Now, these are all examples of key elements that fintech employers value over the school you attended or the degree specification you have. Now let's talk about who actually benefits from a fintech degree. Now let's be fair, I'm not trying to suggest that fintech degrees aren't necessary or important. Fintech degrees do offer real value, but the value is most relevant only to certain types of people at certain points in their journey. Let's break it down into categories. So let's say category 1 are traditional finance professionals looking to switch careers. If you're a banker, accountant, or risk manager with no exposure to digital tools, a fintech degree can help you understand APIs and integrations, digital KYC and credit scoring, data analytics and AI, new business models like embedded finance, buy now, pay later. For someone in this category, a fintech degree acts as a bridge into the future of your profession. It gives you a perspective of what to expect and the lingo being used in the fintech space, so you don't feel like you're starting from scratch once you get in. The second category are tech professionals entering finance. If you're a developer or engineer looking to enter the regulated world of financial services, this degree gives you domain knowledge on compliance, capital markets, lending, insight into regulatory expectations, and product nuances in building for financial services. It gives you a view of the business problems that your technology skills and background are intended to solve. It's a contextual accelerator helping you avoid feeling like a rookie once you transition into the regulated world of finance. The third category would be students with no work experience. Now, if you're a student or a fresh graduate or very early in your career with no experience, a fintech degree won't guarantee you a job, but it can absolutely help if approached strategically. Here's how. Now, pursuing a fintech degree signals intent and a genuine commitment and curiosity for the domain of fintech. It sends a clear signal to recruiters and employers that you're serious about building a career in the space. You've taken the initiative to upskill, and it shows you understand that fintech requires cross-disciplinary thinking. A fintech degree equips you with relatable project work or capstone experience. These give you something tangible to talk about in interviews, even if you've never worked in a fintech, and can make you more attractive than someone with a generic finance or tech degree with no direction. Now, some programs, especially those at recognized universities or delivered by industry platforms, are partnered with fintech companies or regulators. Now, these can open doors for internships, mentorship programs, and graduate schemes, and early access to job posting. If you leverage your program wisely, it can be a foot in the door, especially in competitive markets like Africa and Southeast Asia. But be careful. It's important to manage your expectations because there are some things that a fintech degree won't do. The truth is that a degree is not a golden ticket. In many fast-moving fintechs, it won't be enough on its own. It won't replace real-world problem solving. Fintech hiring managers are looking for people who can solve operational, product, and customer challenges in real time. If your resume says MSc Fintech, but you can't explain how a mobile lending or payment product works end-to-end, you can't articulate the differences between the fintech and bank approach to serving customers, you don't understand what role fintechs are playing in the financial services ecosystem in order to formulate solutions, then you're unlikely to stand out. In fintech, employers value attitude as much as aptitude. They look for team members who are comfortable with ambiguity, willing to learn fast, not afraid to roll up their sleeves and figure things out. A degree might give you knowledge, but the experience gives you the resilience, and that's what makes you valuable. Now, if I'm to draw on lessons from my own journey, I've never studied fintech and I don't have a fintech degree. My background was in banking and finance and business strategy. Everything I know today about digital credit, scoring models, API integrations, regulatory licensing, or mobile money interoperability, I learned on the job. I've launched products with telcos, negotiated bank funding deals, dealt with regulators, led cross-border teams and business operations, and none of it required a fintech degree. What I had instead was the curiosity and the drive. I asked questions relentlessly, researched on my own, stayed close to the problems that needed solving within the financial services space. I had a willingness to experiment. I wasn't afraid to pilot small ideas, fail fast, learn and iterate. And the strong fundamentals in finance and strategy gave me an advantage. That foundation let me quickly connect the dots between the new technology and the old banking challenges. Having people skills and networking, relationships with telcos, regulators, bank partners opens more doors than any certificate could. And that combination mattered far more than the titles on my degree. So back to the question, should you get a fintech degree? I think it's important to ask yourself a few questions. What's your starting point? If you're already deep deep in finance or tech, maybe you just need targeted courses, certifications, or hands-on project experience, not a full-blown degree. Also, what is your career goal? If you want to pivot industries, work abroad, or enter academia or policy, a recognized degree can boost your credibility. But also think about, what is the opportunity cost? Could that same time and money be spent on a startup project, for example, or like a coding bootcamp, a data science certificate, or even networking at fintech events to give you proximity to those who could potentially give you the opportunity? There's no single right path. The industry is full of people who entered from banking, engineering, consulting, marketing, and even completely unrelated backgrounds like design or agriculture, all thriving without a formal fintech degree. At the end of the day, fintech rewards skills, adaptability, and initiative far more than credentials. A fintech degree can be a useful bridge or signal of intent, but it's not the only bridge. Your ability to solve problems, learn fast, and deliver results will carry the most weight. It's your skills and mindset, not your diploma, that will build your fintech future. I hope you found this video valuable, and if you did, remember to hit the like button and leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.